And we are in 17, line 17 of Psalm 74. You have set all the borders of the earth. You have made summer and winter. And so that refers us to Acts 17:26. That says, and he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell on the face of the earth, and has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their habitation. And so what this is, what Paul was saying is that he was saying this to the to the men at Areopagus, or the men of Athens, or okay, and he was saying that, and so this is what he was saying. He was preaching to them basically. And he has made from one blood every nation of men to dwell in all the face of the earth, and he has determined their pre-appointed times and the boundaries of their habitation. So what he's saying is that everybody has their own little place, that he had for them to dwell in. And then 27 says, so that they should seek the Lord in the hope that they might grope for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. All right. And so moving to the next stanza, line 18. Remember this, that the enemy has reproached, O God, and that a foolish people has blasphemed your name. Oh, do not deliver the life of your turtle dove to the wild beast. Do not forget the life of your poor forever. Have respect to the covenant, for the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. Oh, do not let the oppressed return ashamed. Let the poor and needy praise your name. And so now this is a plea that he is given to God, asking God to remember this, that the enemy has reproached, O Lord. And so what happened is that we pray and ask God for that hedge of protection around us. And when God has moved that hedge of protection from around us, then the enemy can press in. And that's when he smelled that fresh meat. And we talked about that already. And so, and this is what Asaph is reminding God, that the enemy has reviled them, and that a foolish people has blasphemed your name. All right, so, and God's name is not to be, blasphemed. It's supposed to be respected and reverenced. 19. Oh, do not deliver the life of your turtle dove to the wild beast. So now he's asking for God not to, now he's considering himself a turtle dove. And they use their turtle doves also for sacrificing as well. So he's like, do not sacrifice your turtle dove to the wild beast. And then, and it says, do not forget the life of your poor and forever. Remember, we talked about the poor and how God cares for the poor. And whenever, now he's saying that he's identifying himself as being poor, because he already know God is going to move and act for the poor. 20, have respect to the covenant. Have respect to that spiritual agreement. For the dark places of the earth are full of the habitations of cruelty. So remember how men were set in different boundaries. There are some dark places on the earth that he's saying that are full of where people dwell, and it's some cruel places in this world. And that's what he's saying. 21, oh, do not let the oppressed return ashamed. So those who are put down, let the poor and needy praise your name. And so he's saying, let not the oppressed return. Let us not, those who've been put down, let them not be ashamed. And then let the poor and needy praise his name. Remember, deliverance is in the praise. And he's feeling poor, he's feeling needy, and he's trying to get the people, praise God. Because if we can praise God, then we're praising ourselves out of this situation. 22, Arise, O God, plead your own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproaches you daily. Do not forget the voice of your enemies. The tumult of those who rise up against you increases continually. And so I'm just going to elaborate on the last two, so we're going to go over clearly. Arise, O God, plead your own cause. Remember how the foolish man reproaches you daily, how the foolish man reviles or taunts you daily. And you have to be foolish to taunt and revile God. And so what he's saying is that he asking God to plead his own cause, because it's like if they're doing this to me, God, they're doing it to you. 23, do not forget the voice of your enemies. The tumult of those who rise up against you increases continually. So he's saying that don't forget what the enemy is continuing to utter and say continuously. And so if he can remind God to remember what the enemy is doing, then perhaps he could just take his hand off of them and not put them down. Okay, so that is Psalm 74. Request for God to remember his covenant, a contemplation of Asaph. And so I wanted to try to cover 75 and 76, being that, I hadn't done anything in over a week, because I had this awful wasp thing, and that just put me down. But anyway, I'm going to do my best. I'm kind of losing my voice, but at least I'll try to get through 75 if I'm not able to get to 75 and 76. But let me just end by saying, keep the faith, keep the focus, stay on the Lord's side, all right? And just know that I love you, and may God bless you.